Welcome back to Universe. I'm Andrew, and today I'm playing Earthborne Rangers. This is part 7, and I am on day 8 of the 30-day campaign. At least that's how many days are written on the campaign log. My current missions are to set up a sensor network, and I need to go to 3 different locations for that. Those 3 being the Plummet, High Basin, and Mound of the Navigator. I'm currently at Branch, so I want to head to High Basin ASAP and set up some sensors to detect a certain type of biomeld. Then I can go around to the Furrow, Terravore, and then Mound of the Navigator, where I need to set up some more sensors. And the third location is over at the Plummet, which is way over here. But I also have a different mission, Deeper Motives. I need to get to Tumbledown within 5 days. So I'm either going to have to go through these swampy locations or go around this way to get to Tumbledown. And I don't know if the sensor network mission is on a timer. So I'm hoping it's not because I am going to prioritize. I'm going to try to set up the net sensors on the way or here and here. But then I'm going to head to Tumbledown. I don't know how fast I can do that. I mean, if I can do that, today's 8. So yeah, I have to read an entry at the beginning of day 10. So I have to do it either day 8 or day 9. Not only get to get to these 2 locations and then also Tumbledown, but then also get back up to Plummet in time by the end of day 9. Because at the beginning of day 10, I have to read an entry that I think might be correlated, but might not be to the sensor network. It might not be. I could be worrying for no reason, but I am going to hope that it's not because I'm going to prioritize Deeper Motives because I do have to be there for sure by the end of day 11. So with that said, my main priority here is to be just leaving Branch and headed to High Basin, start setting up some sensors, and we'll be doing the sensor network mission today, hopefully, making progress on it at least. We are at Branch, been here before in the previous episode. It's got 1 presence, 4 progress to traverse, 4 awareness plus connection to search. The treetop settlement scout path cards equal to my effort and draw 1. So if I want to meet anyone in particular, our setup, we got to read entry 4, and then I will search the path deck for the next feature and put it into play. Did I say entry 4? Definitely entry 6 says, the town of Branch spreads out among the trunks and branches of the giant cedar trees and tough, wrinkled dole woods. The whole village is a maze of platforms and narrow walkways, all created from tree branches encouraged to grow together into dense mats punctuated by spherical homes. So the next feature is gonna be a cloud hive. Shuffle these in. And actually, I should have drawn my hand first and mulligan, so I'll do that now. Need to draw 6. Check. Don't need my second Scepter of Harmony. I think I'll put away the Seen Through Cycles, but I'll take the rest. So I'm going to keep Throng of Life, Ranger Badge, Quiet, and Shape the Earth. Draw Trowel and Philosopher's Honey. So this is one of my reward cards I picked up in the previous day. I thought about, do I want to try it out over a somewhat close equivalent item, one of the starting items I had, which collects Vittles when I harm Flora, and each Vittle lets me soothe 2 fatigue. The Philosopher's Honey will only let me ever soothe 1 fatigue because I have 1 focus only. But I still felt like the reliability of not relying on fauna or flora was better. Plus it has much better icons. And once I've used it a few times, made use of it, I could just discard it and make room for more gear. For example, if I want to use Artel's Vaulting Rod, although the Vaulting Rod has 3 gear squares, so might not always be super relevant, but at least I won't have to feel bad if I have to discard it for some reason after I've gotten some uses out of it. I don't know, I might switch back, but I wanted to try it out at least. Definitely be better for someone who had 2 or 3 focus. All right, so that's out. Cloud Hive is going to be in play. It's a feature, but it's a prey, a lair, and a food. It is not a flora, not a fauna, not a being. And on the sun is the most dangerous challenge icon because it puts Cloud Hive Swarm bees into play. So I want to clear it mostly for that reason. But it's kind of hard to interact with because it's not a being or a flora. There's not a ton I can do. I think I accidentally cheated a few times in the last episode inadvertently. Although I guess I can traverse it because it is a feature. So that would be the main way to interact with it. All right, now we'll start round 1, and I need to draw a path card as step 1. And I got a Puffer Crawler, something new. Haven't seen this one yet. It's going to be along the way. If this being is attached to a role or a being with persistent, it gains persistent. Ooh, so it'll come with you. Focus on conflict. You can peel to away from this soporific tendrils to add harm to this being equal to your effort. If you fail, attach it to your role. If it attaches to a being, it adds harm to them. And if it's not attached, it becomes attached. There are currently no beings in play. I don't think my role card counts as a being. So I think the only way it can get attached to my being is with that failed focus peel test. Oh, nope. The crest ability. If it's attached to your role, take an injury. If not, attach it. So this is a scary little guy. I would like to get out of here. I'm tempted to just really focus on leaving. I can traverse the location, but with these in the way, along the way, I don't have to lose or take 3 fatigue. But I think that might be better than just hanging out here and trying to deal with them first. So I think I am just going to do a basic traverse test, taking the 3 fatigue from their combined presence. And I should mention, if you have, I usually say this at the beginning, but I forgot. If you're just joining me now, welcome. But if this is your first episode, I do recommend starting with episode 1 earlier in the series. Unless you know Earthborne Rangers, and particularly want to see me try to set up a sensor network in the middle of the valley. I'm going to commit 2 exploration icons from my ranger badge. So my committing 4. I need a 4 because I want to add 4 progress to the location. Checking the red is a 0. So that's nice. I get to add 4 progress to the location. And then I need to resolve the crest icon. This one says, if this mission is attached, but it's not, if now in the mysterious Verdesian are in play, but they're not, no. And this one says, if this being is attached to your role, suffer an injury. If not, attach it. So now I have to take the puffer crawler with me. Now I'm going to have to get rid of it instead of just ignoring it. I should also mention our weather is different. The last few days we've had the rainstorm downpour. Now we have a perfect day again, back like we did the first few days of the campaign. It started with 3 clouds. During the refresh step, it loses 1 cloud. When there are no clouds, it flips. On a mountain symbol, it can add extra progress. And when it flips, it'll be the midday sun with 0 clouds. During the refresh step, it will gain a cloud. When there are 3, we go back to a perfect day. But the sun will make us suffer fatigue unless we locate shelter. Or well, you can soothe the fatigue. So this is a being and a flora. So I can still travel. It's just that the puffer crawler is going to come with me now. I'm out of fitness energy. I should have 2 awareness. I could do a basic connection test because it is a being. I can try to connect with it to get it off me. I can spend 3 spirit on that, but it has a connection threshold of 8. That's a lot. And every time I do one of those tests, I'm risking it giving me an injury, which I really don't want. So I don't really want to do any tests, to be honest. So I think I'm going to play Philosopher's Honey. It's going to cost 2 of my 3 spirit. Let's try this guy out. It's going to start with 3 uses of honey, or 3 dollops, but I will spend 1 of them, use 1 dollop to soothe 1 fatigue, because I have 1 focus energy. So I'll take the top of my fatigue into my hand. And now I've got 2 more uses of that. And I think I'm just going to end the round and travel. I'm going to end the ranger turn, and then in step 3, the location has progress equal to exceeding its threshold. Let's go. So the cloud hive goes away, but the puff crawler is persistent now. And I'm going to travel from branch to high basin, which is one of the places I can set up sensors. I'm traveling across old growth, so I'm going to keep the same deck, get rid of the branch cards. I'll be replacing those with cards, 3 random cards from the Valley set. Shuffle up the Valley cards. Oh, 1, 2, 3. And yeah, I have Quiet mixed in here, just turned over because it's not supposed to be in there anymore. Because she's my friend now. Shuffle these up. And let's check out the high basin. It's got 1 presence, but 5 progress. With fitness and connection, I can swim in the crystal clear waters of the high lake to soothe fatigue equal to my effort. I've got other uses for my fitness right now, but I'm going to read entry 18, and the lead ranger will search the path deck for the next flora. 18 says, high above the forest below, the basin gleams in the sunlight. Smaller than White Sky Lake, the water in this mountain tarn is much deeper, the clear, cold water darkening to deep blue in the center. The elders say that nobody has ever reached those depths, and looking at it for yourself, you can well believe it. You wonder if there are submerged caves in the depths, and if any of the high basin's water drains into even deeper subterranean passages. The next flora is a hanging cherry moss. So that is here. 0 presence, fitness, and reason to climb up to reach the sweetest of the insect luring fruit. To add harm to this feature, discard a token from an insect and soothe fatigue. If there are insects, they will eat it. If there are mammals, they will also eat it. Well, I guess the insects get readied. The mammals get exhausted. All right, so that's within reach. That could be useful. Refresh my... Oh, this is also a feature. So that'll bring into play the sensor network. I can add a sensor to the hanging cherry moss if I want to. When a feature comes into play at one of these locations, you may attach this mission to it. When a feature with this mission attached is cleared, place progress on this mission. Have 3 on the mission to read an entry. And on a crest, if the mission is attached, exhaust a non-human being unattached the mission, unless a ranger spends a focus energy. So I guess some wild animals will kind of interrupt our sensor process. So that will go here for now. That's the place I'm focused on here. I need to set up one of my sensors there. Going into the refresh step, I'll get my energy back, draw a card, ready, and lose 1 cloud. And then back to step 1, we'll draw another path card, which is a Dullwood canopy. So it's another feature, but I can only have the sensor network attached to one thing at once. While your ranger icon is on this feature, treat each card within reach as exhausted, but you cannot add progress to features or the location. With fitness and reason, I can climb to the towering trees to get your bearings to either move your ranger icon to this feature or remove it. If you fail, you take an injury. So basically I can climb up into the canopy in order to avoid everything else. Well, at least everything with it within reach. All right. Well, it is it's not an obstacle or anything, but it does have a presence to worry about. That'll go, or yeah, it would fatigue me if I try to traverse the location. All right, now I got some fitness back. Let's try to deal with this puffer crawler. Realize I could use the common test awareness to avoid the being. This is a being and a flora, which is kind of weird. A living animalish plant, but so I could exhaust it by avoiding it with an awareness plus conflict test, but I don't think... I'm just going to try to clear it with my carbon forged trowel. I will tend to the local plant, adding harm to it with that spirit test. So I'm going to pay 2 fitness to put carbon forged trowel into play, and then I'm going to do that spirit plus reason test with 3 spirit. Is that enough? Yeah, I'm going to go for it. I do have Throng of Life in my hand, so hopefully there's a +1 somewhere on the card. So let's do 3, and we got, got a 0. So it's not the end of the world, because I didn't get a crest icon. End of the world would be I get an injury. But my test result is going to just be 3. There are no +1s on this card. Throng of Life would let me choose a +1 even if it was the wrong color, or choose any result I want as long as it's the right color, or regardless of the color rather. But there's no +1 to choose, so there's no point playing it. So I'll just take the 3. That'll put 3 harm, but it has a 4 harm threshold. And then this is in play already. And then resolve the mountain. Ooh, the perfect day says if this test added progress, add an additional 1, but I was adding harm. This one says if Nal and the mysterious Verdesian are in play and ready, but they're not. And this one says if there's an active mammal, exhaust it, but there's not. So I'll actually take a song onto my Scepter of Harmony, which has a setup keyword, which is why I got to start with it and play. It also started with 1 song. This is my Shaper Conduit, so I need one of these to play manifestation cards, and as a response after I perform a test in which no challenger effects were resolved, add a song to it. So that happened just now. And then I can exhaust it and spend X songs to add X progress to a being. So I could add progress. I could spend these 2 songs to add 2 progress to the puffer crawler, but that's, again, 8 progress threshold is a lot. So I'm just going to stick with the harm. I do have a way to add another harm. I have Familiar Ground in my hand, but I'm out of fitness energy now. So that would let me add harm, 1 harm to a floor to add 3 to a trail, which would be nice. So that'll help me get progress on the location once I can actually play it next round. So I just want to avoid the crest until then. I really have a lot of things I want to spend my fitness on. I could even use quiet to add harm to it, but quiet costs harm too, or costs fitness. So let's just have some more, another dollop of honey to the one more fatigue. Got another red card, just another 2 copies of bold now. And I could do a remember test to draw a card, but I just don't want to risk tests. I think I'm just going to go to the next round. Yep, let's just ready, energize, and draw. Draw a path card, and we got a swarm now. So it starts with 1 bees on it, and during our fresh step, it gets an extra bees. Oh, once per test. Can add a maximum number of 1 harm per test, but that's only for tests. So I think Quiet's ability would work just fine. And its presence and harm threshold are each equal to the number of bee tokens on it. So that's going to be within reach. All right, let's use our 3rd dollop of honey, see if we get Riri, and I did not. I've also taken my hurricane card. Yeah, I'm just totally behind on fitness energy with this hand. Although I could play Seen Through Cycles to go search for any other being. I guess I could even replace the Puffer Crawler. Seen Through Cycles, a manifestation card, would cost me 2 of my spirit. Choose a being, shuffle it into the path deck, search the path deck for a being to put into play. There are 3 random cards from the Valley set, which often can be helpful people, but it's not guaranteed that there are any helpful people in there right now. Still, that would let me get rid of the bees, and then I can easily clear up the Puffer Crawler with 1 more fitness energy by playing the Familiar Ground. So let's do that. I'm going to play Familiar Ground for 1. I'll play Seen Through Cycles momentarily, or maybe I should play it first just to see what I'm getting. Sure, because I'm not doing a test, so I'm not risking any of these abilities. We'll play this first, spend 2 spirit energy and 1 song token from my conduit. We're going to shuffle away the bees and find somebody else. All right, I found Ben Amon. He's a being, and I'm pretty sure he can fly us around. So I might be able to reduce the length of my journey. If I set up my 3 sensors here, I can then have him fly me to the next place, I believe. I think he's the guy who gave me this mission in the first place, and which is kind of weird because it's like he's got the flying car. Why doesn't he just go fly around and set up the sensors? And I'd much prefer a trip from my 2nd stop over to where I want to go next, because from High Basin, I would have to go to Furrow and then Terravor and then Mound, or High Basin Branch Crossroads Station Biological Outpost Mound of the Navigator. So he's letting me skip a couple steps. I'm assuming that he has the pilot ability who will fly me somewhere, but I'm pretty sure of that. But yeah, High Basin fly to Mound of the Navigator. It'd be great if I could fly from here all the way down to Tumbledown. I don't know if it's super likely we'll see him again. All right, so that was a pretty nice Seen Through Cycles. We'll bring him out for now, and we'll use him later. Well, he's got entry 87. We can read that. Pretty sure I've talked to him before. I don't remember if I actually hitched a ride with him. I got somebody with a boat, but not this guy. A shadow skims over your head, and you duck, thinking you're about to be attacked by a hungry Irex. You look up in relief to see the shape of Ben Amon's custom-made glider, the Swift, passing overhead. It lands gently in a clearing a short distance away. As you approach, you see Ben Amon emerge from the cockpit, stretch his legs, then check something on the underside of the vehicle. "Hello there," he says, looking up from his work. "I'm on an errand from Elder Thrush, but if you're in need of assistance, maybe I can give you a ride." Clear Ben with progress to board the Swift. So we'll let him hang out for now. Definitely want to make sure to avoid any predators getting him, but there's no predators right now. So we should be safe to just let him hang out. He's friendly, so he won't fatigue us. And that was a pretty useful Seen Through Cycles. And then, now that we know what we're working with, I will play Familiar Ground, add a harm to a Flora. Puffer Crawler is a Flora, so we will clear that with its 4th harm. And I also get to add 3 progress to a trail, and the High Basin is a trail. Location, forest, water, trail. All right. Now we can focus on actually setting up some sensors. I don't think there are any challenge icons I'm really afraid of right now, so I'm going to take a risky test here. I'm going to tend to the Hanging Cherry Moss with just a single spirit energy. I'll need a 1 to succeed because there's no number printed by the word tend. If I get a negative, I will fail, but there's no fail penalty, and there's no challenge icons I'm worried about. So let's just see. I got a -2, so negative, so definitely a fail. And then we will resolve a crest, which actually does trigger this. Exhaust a non-human being. or none of those. So there are no animals around to distract us from our sensor network. So no challenge icons resolve, and I'll take a song. And also I'll discard the Philosopher's Honey. It's ran out of dollops already. And then this reshuffle icon means I'll take all of the challenge cards we've used so far and shuffle them back. All right, so our test failed, but I got a song out of it at least. We can clear this later. Actually, I think, oh no, I can't. I was gonna say I can clear it now with Shape the Earth, but it costs 2 fitness. I only have 1. I can do a basic traverse though. The Hanging Cherry Moss is a feature. So with 1 fitness, I would need, it adds progress. So I need 3 progress to succeed. I can commit a bold. I kind of want to clear it now so that if I draw a path card, which happens to be a feature, I can then attach the sensor network again and get a move on here. I need to do 3. I'd like to be able to survive a -1, so I might commit another exploration. That's a total of 4. I need 3. And we get a -1, so 4 minus 1 is 3. So I get to add 3 progress here, which clears it, which puts this back to here, but now with 1 progress. Resolve the mountain. Oh, it's a perfect day would add another progress. This one does nothing, so I'll take a 3rd song. And now what? Really can't do much with my awareness. I could try to draw a card with focus. Sure, let's try to draw one with the remember test. I got a 2, this basic remember test. So I'm going to scout 2 cards from the top of my ranger deck and then draw 1. I'll take Riri to the top and Quiet to the bottom since she's already in my hand. And then actually, what are her icons look like? 2 conflict and a connection. Sure, she can be here, and then I'll draw Riri, and that will let me spend my awareness this round. I have to resolve the crest, which does nothing, so I'll take a 4th song, and then I'll spend 2 awareness to play Riri the Sparrowhawk, so she'll be useful to have around. And then I'm done. So already energize, draw, lose a cloud, and draw the Kleptic Raccoon, not a feature. It is a being that wants to mess with my gear. If I clear it with progress, I get to pick my honey back up. Oh, and I should have used my roll card. Every round I can exhaust to choose a manifestation in my discard and add it to my hand. I do have Seen Through Cycles in my discard, so I'll add that back to my hand. And then ready during the refresh step. So yeah, if I clear this, I can pick back up my honey. Although Riri and Quiet are both good at fighting, I could just damage it out. So I don't have to worry about it attacking me. Or stealing my stuff, rather. So that's within reach. I do think I would like to clear it with progress. I could pick back up my honey. So I'll spend 3 spirit to do a basic connect test. 3. I don't think I need any icons, so let's just do 3 minus 1 is 2. That's fine. We can do 2. Oh, actually, no, because I drew a sun. That's going to trigger the Kleptic Raccoon if it's still in play to make me discard an equipped gear. I could have kept my Philosopher's Honey in play with no loot on it. But because I didn't, I chose to discard it. And now I would have to choose one of my gear to discard that is still in play. So I might have to jump through a couple hoops here. Well, first of all, perfect day. Oh no, that's only on a mountain. Can I get this to 4? It's currently at 3. I think I have to play Throng of Life. So I'm going to spend my focus to play Throng of Life. It's a manifestation, so I'll spend a song. And instead of choosing the -1, I'll choose the +1. So instead of 2, it'll be 4. And I'll have to resolve an additional challenge icon in addition to the sun. But now I'm adding 4 progress, which will clear it all at once. And by the time we resolve challenge icons, it'll be gone. Plus, since I cleared it with progress, its ability set, I get the gear to my hand, and I'll take the Philosopher's Honey back. Now, sun, it's not going to do anything, and the crest wouldn't do anything either, so I'll choose sun and crest, and then I'll get 2 songs. And then I think I will use Riri's ability to survey for more path cards, awareness and reason, to scout the path deck equal to my effort and draw a path card. I don't have any reason. I have 1 on Seen Through Cycles, but I'm just going to do 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. That's fine. It's going to let me look at the top and decide if I want it. I'll take it. So, and then I draw a path card. So Rotting Dullwood will come out. Resolve the sun, which does nothing. So I'll take a song. And the Dullwood says it is an obstacle, but there's also a feature, so I get to attach the sensor network to it. And if I clear it, I also have to discard all other flora in play and take fatigue, 2 fatigue for each one. So that'd be the canopy if I don't clear that first, but I think that's fine. So we put that out, and I think I will play Shape the Earth now. So it's going to cost me 2 fitness energy and 1 song in order to add a progress to each feature and location, and then redistribute it all. So I get to add 1, 2, 3 progress and then redistribute it all. And the high basin already has 3 progress on it, so I will actually take 1 off of that in addition to moving the 1 from it. Well, basically here, I'll just physically do it. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then I get to redistribute it all, and I'll do it like that. So now this has 4 on it, which clears it. Oh, and that trigger for getting fatigue only happens if I clear it with harm, but I cleared it with progress with Shape the Earth. Just Shape the Earth to get a sensor installed. So that's cleared. This gets a second progress, and that is Shape the Earth. I think I'm going to use this to get back Throng of Life because it's the most useful in a vacuum, but if I need it, I'll pick up Shape the Earth next round. But for now, I think I'm just going to be done. So already energize and draw. Perfect day loses a cloud, which means we're now in the midday sun. It says the sun effect to suffer fatigue. Draw a path card, the Tenebra. It is a feature, so I could put a sensor on it. And I think I ran into this in the previous day, but it was in the Lost Hour. If you saw that episode, you know, I lost an hour. So this is when you perform a test that interacts with a card in the same area as this feature, reduce your effort by 1. So actually it slows you down, and on a sun it moves. So it'll alternate between along the way and within reach. Starts out along the way, and we will read entry 88 just to learn a little bit about it. As you walk into a clearing, a sinking sensation fills your chest, and each beat of your heart adds to your unease. You look up to see the dreaded specters known collectively as the Tenebra, drifting slowly overhead. Sounds of life grow still under their shadow. You hear a near inaudible sound that claws at the edges of your perception like a chorus of labored breaths wheezing through a single narrow aperture. So they are generally bad, but they clear with just 3 progress, and they are a feature, so we can put a sensor on them. Let's see. And I could just clear that and then clear Ben, and we can just be on our way to doing the second location. That definitely helps. If Ben is just going to fly us down to Mound of the Navigator. All right, well, I do think that Shape the Earth is going to help me here, so let's exhaust my roll to pick up a manifestation, play a manifestation, 2 fitness, and a song to add progress here, here, and here, and then redistribute it like that, which clears this, and puts a third one here, which means I get to read 1.09. You whistle 3 notes, and the globe at the top of the scanner briefly pulses with an iridescent glow. You feel a low thrum emanate from the device that resonates at the base of your skull. Remove all progress from sensor network and check off the bubble matching the current location next to sensor network on the campaign tracker. Then if all 3 are complete, read the following. Well, not all 3 are complete, so I'll check off the 1 corresponding. So the bubbles are on the left is the plummet, middle is high basin, on the right is mound. High basin is in the middle. That's the one I just finished. So I will check off the middle bubble here. You know my problems with that if you watch my Rising Waters episodes, but at least I know how it works now. So 1 of 3 locations done. Clear this progress and probably just see if Ben will fly me somewhere. But first, let's spend 2 on replaying the Philosopher's Honey. I forget if he's going to end the round. I assume so if we're going to travel. So I want to spend my energy, and I don't need to connect with him through a connection test. I'm just going to use my scepter. So I'm going to exhaust my scepter to add and spend 3 songs to add 3 progress. Oh, that doesn't work. I have to add my ranger icon to him, which is focus plus connection. So I have to do a test, focus and connection. I need a 3 to move my ranger icon to him. All right, well, I only have 1. I need a 3? That is not easy. I have 3 connection icons in my hand, but that would mean I'm spending both copies of Quiet, And that puts me at a 4, so I can afford a -1. If I want to hold a copy of Quiet, I have to risk it. But I'm only going to ever have one focus, so I have to make my test count if I want to fly, and I do want to fly. So I'm sorry, Quiet, but hopefully I don't get a -2. And I got a 0, so I could have kept it Quiet, but you never know. So 4 stands, and my Ranger icon to clear it. So read 87. After some discussion, Ben gestures toward the Swift. Climb aboard, he says. The Elder asked me to run these supplies across the valley as quickly as possible, but the winds are favorable today. I should be able to make your journey a little easier and be back to Lone Tree by sundown. Now, where to? You may immediately end the round and travel to any location within 2 paths, including rivers. Use the terrain type on the last path you crossed over. If you choose to travel this way, discard the current challenge card and do not resolve the remainder of the test. If you choose not to travel, discard Ben and resolve the remainder of the test as normal. All right, so he's not going to take me anywhere, but 2 paths. I'm at High Basin. Get this open. So 2 paths. I need to get to Mound of the Navigator, but I get to include rivers. So High Basin along the river to Biological Outpost, and then along the woods gets me to the mound. So I can get to the mound. I'm going to be using the wood set, not resolving this mountain symbol, which I think would have given me a song, but oh well. All right, so woods and mound, here we go. Mound is not pivotal, so it'll be 3 more valley random cards. Theoretically, it could be Ben again, but it'll be random because I'm going to pull him out and shuffle the whole valley set. Shuffle, 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 and 1, 2, 3. And the Mound of the Navigator. These go together. All right, Mound of the Navigator, 2 presents now. 4 to progress. Starts with 0 routes. With focus and exploration, I can analyze 2 of the paths ahead to add a route to it. When I travel, add 2 progress to your destination for each route on this location. So it can help me travel to wherever I'm going next. It can help me travel even further. Travel again faster. I'll have to decide if I want to go to the bridge, the meadow, the rings, the ruins, and then tumble down, or go through the swamp, Green Bridge, Sunken Outpost, Frowning Gate, Bowl of the Sun, tumble down. Either way, it's 5 travels. Might go through the swamp just because I get to see a new encounter type, but I don't know if they're like more dangerous or something. Swamps are usually scary. All right, so our setup, we're going to read 27. The lead ranger is going to search the path deck for the next feature. Well, I need features for my sensor network, so that sounds great. From the pillar of rock known as the Mound of the Navigator, you can see for miles in all directions. Many centuries ago, the Estians cultivated an arboretum at the summit of the mound and carved the narrow switchback trails that lead there. As you approach, a flock of dark-feathered birds lifts to the sky, leading your eye out into the valley, into the distant mountains beyond. You need a feature. Ooh, Tall of the Red. Sunberry Bramble. Shuffle her back in. And that'll be an easy feature to clear. Happy to set up a sensor there. Put that within reach. And then I need to finish the round by doing a refresh step. So that's going to add a cloud here. And I get to ready, energize, and draw. Then start the next round with a path card. And we got a Sitka Buck, familiar face. It's going to be within reach, 3 harm, and 5 progress threshold. All right, let's use the trowel to tend to the Sunbury Bramble. I'll tend with 3 spirit. Got a 0, so that's going to be 3 harm added. And that will clear it right off the bat, adding progress to my mission. Resolve the mountain. This says if there's an active predator, exhaust it, but there's not. So I'll get a song, which means I have enough songs to just clear it with progress all in one go. But I don't want to spend my songs on that. Instead, I think I will sky whip it. Some manifestation, so I'll spend a song. And I'll do an awareness test to strike for harm. I need at least a 1 to not fail. So let's just do a 2 and we'll see what happens. I got a -1, so 1. So I'll add 1 harm, but I also get to exhaust that being. And then resolve the mountain again, which is another song. Then I will use Riri to add 1 harm to a being in her area. So it's the 2nd harm on the buck. And I can finish it off next round, and now that it's exhausted, I can traverse the location, safely enough. So I can do 2, although now this has a presence of 2. So if I get a -1, and that's a 1, that's actually a failure because fit plus exploration to traverse X, the X refers to the presence of the location. Most of the locations I've been at have a 2. This one has have 1. This one has a 2. So I get under a 2, I fail, which would give me an injury. So I guess I'm going to add bold to make it a 4, just because I definitely don't want to risk an injury. I got a 0, so that'll be 4 progress added, which actually means I could traverse it or travel any time, but I need to set up my sensors. Then the sun is going to give me a fatigue, and then I can soothe one of that fatigue with my honey. So we draw another Riri. She has an exploration icon. And then I think I'll do this analyze test to analyze the paths ahead. I need a 2 to succeed, but there's no fail case. So I won't spend any cards on it. Let's just see if I get a +1. And I did. So I get to add 1 route to the location. Resolve the crest. Nothing, nothing. Get a song. Very nice. That'll end the round. I just need to get more features out, and I can spend my awareness on that if I need to with Riri. Add a second cloud to the sun, draw a path, and it is a feature. We got an overgrown thicket. It's going to be along the way. It's an obstacle, but that's fine because I'm planning to clear it. It's a flora, so I can use my trowel, and we'll attach the sensor network mission to it. Let's go ahead and just tend to it with that. Oh, first I should finish off the Sitka buck with Riri, add the 3rd harm, and clear the buck so that it doesn't fatigue me. Then we'll do the spirit test to tend to the thicket. It does have a 3 harm threshold, so I need 3. Did I forget to return a manifestation? I think I did, so I'm going to rewind that and pick one up. I want to get the Throng of Life back. See, I could add a reason icon to increase my chances of clearing this in one shot. What if it makes more sense to try to traverse it instead? No, I'll just keep the 3, and we get a +1 anyway, so that's 4 harm added, which will clear this and give me a second progress. The crest does nothing, so I'll take a 7th song and then reshuffle. And let's use Riri to try to survey and find another feature. So I'm just going to do 2. I need a 1. Got a -1, so that is a 1. 1 will let me look at the top card, and it is a Caustic Mulcher. Let's send that to the bottom and then draw a path card, and it's another Sunberry Bramble, so that's much nicer than the Caustic Mulcher. The sun will fatigue me, and then I can soothe that fatigue with honey, getting another honey. And sure, let's just traverse this. It is a feature, so it can be target of a basic traverse test. I need 3. But it has a presence of 1, so as long as I don't get a 0, I'm not failing. But still, just in case I draw the -2, I'll commit Riri. Do I really have to be that scared of the -2? Maybe not. I'm gonna regret it. But I'd love a +1 here. It's not a huge deal. All right, so 2 and -1 is 1, which will still add 1 progress to it. The mountain, there's an active prey. Exhaust it. There's not. So I'll get a song. Then I would need 2 more progress here. You know what? Is it worth it? You know what? I'm going to play Throng of Life. And instead of choosing a -1, I'll choose a +1. So I'm going to spend my focus energy and a song, which means I won't be able to try to analyze again, but that's fine. And so instead of 1, it's 3, which will clear it. And then that means I have to choose a second symbol, but I'll choose the crest. So instead of 1 song, I get 2. And I do need to read the next step of the mission, but I assume nothing that interrupts that challenge resolution would happen. So 1.09 again, but this time I'm reading, I just read the same thing again. You whistle 3 notes, and the globe at the top of the scanner briefly pulses with an iridescent glow. You feel a low thrum emanate from the device that resonates at the base of your skull. Check off the bubble next to sensor network, matching the location. They're not all 3 complete. So we'll check off Mound of the Navigator. 3rd one. I just have the 1st one, which is the plummet, which is all the way, we're here, it's all the way back over here. See, how many travels away is that? From the mound, go to the bridge, the knoll, Spire Market Plummet, or Bridge Meadow Ziggurats Plummet. It's really not too far, and I wouldn't even be backtracking that much. Well, I'd be backtracking by about 2 locations compared to wanting to get down to Tumbledown. So if I go from here, I can go through the swamp, or I could go here, and then I want to go down. But I could go 1, 2, and then have to double back those 2, but then come down. And I've got a couple extra days to get to Tumbledown compared to this imaginary maybe deadline for this sensor network. Again, it's not totally clear. I mean, they don't have to tell me, but I don't know if there's any kind of deadline for this. The deadline was to get to Spire. I got there quickly, and when I got there, they told me to set up sensor network. But the deadline was given along with the mission to get to Spire. So I don't know if they're directly connected. But the fact that it's only 2 out of the way, and then come back, and I'm making much better time than I thought on this particular day. Yeah, you know what? I'll probably go up to the plummet next. I think I have time. The main reason not to that I'm thinking of is that sometimes when you do a mission, it tells you to write a deadline a certain number of days ahead. So the faster you get stuff done, the sooner you need to get the next thing done. So in that sense, I might want to delay just so I have more time on the next thing. Or like I can get more done now by not doing the other thing yet and then delay the deadline. Like specifically, if I get to plummet and complete the sensor outpost or sensors, it might give me a mission I have to complete within 2 days. And now I'm competing like, okay, well now what do I do? Tumbledown or the other new thing that both have to be done within 2 days. So from that perspective, I should just go down to Tumbledown. Oh, and this Rings of the Moon to Alluvial Ruins. That's a river. I can't go there. Oh, and the Ziggurat. These are all rivers. I can't go any of these paths. Or the Bridge to the Ruins. That's a river too. So it's actually Bridge to the Meadow, and then there's this path to the Rings of the Moon, then the Outpost, then the Ruins, and Tumbledown. The swamp is still fine. All right, well, I'm going to Tumbledown. I'm going to go through the swamp. So I want to go to Green Bridge next. And the sensor network mission is just going to have to wait. So this was here. So I am already have the progress here I need. So let's just travel now. I'm going to Greenbridge by way of a swamp, and I'm going to get to add 2 extra progress to it because of this route that I analyzed. All right, I got swamp cards and 3 random valley cards, and we are at the Greenbridge. Another presence of 2, only 3 to progress, and then we're going to start with 2 already, which is almost a waste. It's also going to have 4 struts. And on a crest, we remove a strut, and if there are none, your section of the bridge collapses, each ranger suffers an injury. End the round and travel to the Cypress Citadel. All right, the Cypress Citadel is out of the way, so I definitely don't want to go there. I don't know if you can see all the paths here, but the Cypress Citadel is here, which is only connected by 1 path, which is to Michael's Bog. I guess 1, 2, yeah, if I get travel there automatically, then I'd have to go Michael's Bog, Frowning Gate, and have an injury. Whereas if I just travel normally, I can go Greenbridge, Outpost, Gate. I'm at Greenbridge now. I don't want the injury regardless. I just have to travel before we get struts. Fortunately, there's only 1 progress left to gain. Usually I gain more than 1 at a time. Got entry 29, and I'm going to draw 1 path card in addition to my start of round path card. The Greenbridge 29, a series of tall vine-wreathed supports rise out of the swamp. Lengths of equally vine-wrapped cables stretch between them, creating a spindly living above the treetops. The bridge creaks and sways as you walk upon it, and far below you can see the fortress of cypress trees known as the Cypress Citadel. How stable is this bridge? I'll draw 1 path card. Got some black mud, an obstacle, 5 harm or 3 progress to clear. Can add a maximum of 1 progress per test to this feature. Presence of 1 within reach. Okay, then we'll do the refresh step, get my energy back, draw a card, add a cloud, which actually flips it back to a perfect day, and ready, and then start the next round with another path card, which is an intrepid marmot. Also within reach, with focus and exploration, I can discern too the movements of the courageous rodent to exhaust this being, add a progress to it and 2 progress to a feature for every 2 effort. Focus is kind of tough for me. I would need to get a 2. I have some exploration. Not sure about that. All right, so what are we gonna do? All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Not super thrilled, but I'm gonna play Artel's Vaulting Rod. It's gonna cost me 1 of my fitness. It takes up 3 spots, which means I have to discard both of these 2 gear to make room for it. I'm giving up one of my honey, and now I can't use my trowel anymore. I don't know how much day is left. I still have a good chunk of cards in my deck. So hopefully I don't regret losing the trowel. I think you already discarded the other one. So that could be rough. But I've done so much today already that I wouldn't be too bummed if I just decided to just end the day or something. But anyway, this is going to let me exhaust an obstacle. I'm thinking it's going to help me get through this swamp faster than the trowel would. It gets 2 vaults. So I get to vault 2 times. And all it does is exhaust an obstacle. But I'm going to use one to exhaust the mud so I can traverse the location and travel. And then just... So now I have to make sure I travel this round. Otherwise the mud's going to ready and I wasted that vault and all that gear. I could clear the marmot with songs. Or I could ignore it and take a fatigue. Now that I lost my honey, I can't soothe it. I have another honey in my hand. I don't like the idea of intentionally taking fatigue. Like, taking it because you really need to do something is one thing, but I could just clear it here. I don't know what else my songs are for. I have 8 of them. And apologies for any fireworks you can hear. It is New Year's Eve as I'm recording. All right, I'm not going to clear it. I hate this. Taking fatigue. It's basically on purpose because I assume I'll be able to soothe it at some point. It's also partially just because I think my songs might be more useful later. You never know. So, I mean, 8's a lot though. But, all right, I'm doing the vaulting rod, which means now I need to traverse the location. I only have 1 fitness left. So, spend some icons because I have to get at least 2. Even though I only need 1 more progress, a 1 would be a failure. So I've got to get at least 2 just so the test succeeds. I'm going to spend Seen Through Cycles because it's a manifestation I can pick back up again. So that's 3, so I can afford a -1, and I did get a -1. So I got a 2, which means I add 2 progress, making it 4. Resolve the crest, which removes 1 strut. Nothing, nothing. So now I have enough progress. I've exhausted the obstacle. Oh, and I should have taken a fatigue here. And I'll pick back up a manifestation. Take Throng of Life just because you never know when you're going to need it. And I have all this energy, but I think I'm just traveling. So I'm going to go to the next location. These get discarded. And we're headed to Sunken Outpost, which is also going to use Swamp and 3 cards from the Valley. And since I didn't really see anything, I'm just going to shuffle this all back up. I didn't see what 3 Valley cards are in here, so there's no reason removing them and reshuffling that deck and then putting 3 new ones in. So we'll just shuffle up what we got already. Swap the location for the Sunken Outpost. All right, let's see what's on here. So this is another 2 presents, X to clear, or X to travel. 2 per ranger water is here. And X is equal to the amount of water, so I need 2 to travel. That's not bad. With focus and reason, I can divert the deepening water to discard water equal to my effort. No, 2 is fine. Oh, but a mountain will add water. All right. Oh, and then, of course, the setup. Read entry 33, and I'm going to have to search for the next water feature and put it into play. Cordo told you that when the Rangers first explored the valley, they set up outposts every few kilometers. They deliberately placed some in the most inhospitable locations, assuming that would be where they would be needed the most. Pushing aside another curtain of moss and cobwebs, you see one of those forlorn outposts before you. The building is sunk deep into the swamp. Between the grime-caked walls and the hydro worms that seem to be inhabiting it, it's clear that no ranger has visited this outpost in quite some time. All right, well, we're just passing through. So, next water feature, got Fundamentalist, Hydro Worm. That's not water. Looks bad. Quiet. That's not supposed to be here. Which means I'm going to have to shuffle a different Valley card in here. I guess my flipping it over didn't quite work. Got another Hydro Worm, Intrepid Marmot, Hydro Worm, and Heart of the Swamp. There's a water feature. All right, new Valley card to shuffle in and put this back again. And this actually has an entry on it. 9.1. The last hour, the ground under your feet has been growing soggier. The rich scent of loam and decay fills your nose. Finally, you walk under a corridor of arching boughs draped with hanging moss and find yourself standing on a narrow spit of dry land leading into a moss of black water, vines, and cypress trees. You found a path that leads to the Marsh of Rebirth. If I clear it with progress, I can set it aside, and when I next travel, I can travel to the Marsh of Rebirth. Well, that's intriguing. Okay. With spirit and exploration, I can imagine life as a hydro worm to intuit the location of their lair and add progress equal to my effort. So I get to add progress with spirit. That's pretty good for me. All right, so let's do our refresh step. That's along the way. Get my energy ready and draw. And then draw a path card. Oh, I should have discarded a cloud. And we got another marmot. All right, I think I'm going to use Prodigy of the Floating Tower to return a manifestation. And I'm going to get Shape the Earth, which I will play, paying 2 fitness and a song. I'm going to add a progress to each of feature and location, and then rearrange them so I have 2 progress on the location. That's all I need, because there's just 2 per ranger water. As long as no more water gets added, which could actually definitely happen. Well, I guess if it does, then I won't be able to travel this round. So that's Shape the Earth. Then I'm going to do this spirit test. I'm going to commit 3 spirit, and let's just stick with that. 3. I got a -1, so that's 2. I should have taken 1 fatigue. So that's 2 progress. I do get a 3rd rain, unfortunately, from the mountain, but the perfect day adds an additional progress. So I've got 3 progress here. Marmot says if there's an active predator, but there's not. Then I'm gonna actually use Artel's fishing rod to go fishing in the heart of the swamp. Awareness and conflict to fish 2 if there is a water card in play. So 2 fatigue and add 2 progress to a water card. So if I succeed at this, that'll clear the 5. So I've got 2. I need 2 to succeed because of the 2 there. But a -1 would mess me up. I'm just going to keep it because I have Throng of Life in my hand. I could just commit it, but then it's 100% gone, and I don't know what else I'm going to do with this focus energy anyway. So let's just keep it. I got a 0, so I don't have to spend anything. So I had 2 more progress and soothe 2 fatigue, getting 2 copies of Now's Understanding. This still has 1 vault left. Resolve the... Well, this clears this first, but the effect is just to set it aside, and when I travel, I can go to Marsh of Rebirth. So set it aside. Oh, and I should have taken another fatigue, actually, because I was fishing that, and this is in between. I resolve the crest. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So I'll take another song. I think, yeah. Back up to 8. Think did bump it just now, but I think it's 8. And now I can't travel because I got another water added. Well, I can't fix that with 1 focus energy. Let's end the round already. Energize, lose a cloud, draw a path card. Hope it doesn't mess me up too much. Got Overgrown Ruins. It's not an obstacle or anything. I can discover a way into the ancient structure. Oh, come on. Why you gotta be so interesting? Trying to get somewhere. When I clear it with progress, if my ranger icon is there, I can delve into the ruins. Read 9.2. Well, what am I gonna do about that? Oh, I could have fixed it with focus. Focus and reason to divert the water would let me discard water equal to my effort. I had a focus. I could have done that test, but don't know if I want to be a little risky of wasting icons, or I could just hit another mountain and add more water instead. Oh well. And I don't think I used re-ray. I could have added harm here. I'm going to say I did that. Last round I added a harm to the marmot. So now I can go ahead and add the second one and just clear that out. Well, I'm going to traverse the Overgrown Ruins. 2. I'm going to commit Ranger Badge to make it 4. I need 5 though. Let's risk it with 4. I got a -2. So I'm going to play Throng of Life and spend that and a song to choose a +1 instead. So 2, 4, +1 is 5. I get to add 5 progress to it, which will clear it. Oh, dang it. I need to put my ranger icon on it first. I was thinking I was going to do that after, but this clears it right away. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to keep all those results, but I'm going to do my awareness test first, which means technically I shouldn't do that because I shouldn't know that I'm going to need to spend Throng of Life on this one. But I would still do 3, I think. We'll commit the Philosopher's Honey. Actually, I'm going to spend my second Artel's Vaulting Rod. So that's a 3. Hopefully we don't get a -2 on that. Got a 0. So I get to keep the 3. I needed a 2 to add my Ranger badge icon to it. Resolve the Sun, which does nothing. So I'll take a song. And then we'll resolve this test. Sorry. Adding 5 progress and resolving another Sun. Oh, and I have to choose another one from Throng of Life. So I'll choose red, the crest, which also does nothing. So I get 2 songs there, up to 10. This is a reshuffle. Although I guess technically I should not resolve that last Sun yet because this is cleared. So let's see, let's read 9.2. You carefully pick through the vine-covered ruins. The ancient carbon composite walls are hidden by muck and moss, worn down by water and weather. You brush aside a layer of grime and find a map carved into the wall. It shows this building, as well as a large cluster of buildings deeper in the swamp. If there are any artifacts worth salvaging, you'll probably find them in the Marsh of Rebirth. You step out of the ruins and get your bearings. Exhaust each being. Also has a little bit of information, but kind of a waste. All right, well, each being is exhausted already. Now, I don't have any way. I can't divert because I spent my focus, and I also can't traverse. I'm sticking here for another round. All right, let's pick back up Throng of Life. And I want to play the Philosopher's Honey, but then I lose the rod, and I might need to exhaust an obstacle. Also, the fishing is nice with all the water around, so just keep that readying and drawing. And I really do want to move on. I lose another cloud, so we're back to the sun in the swamp. And it's the Fundamentalist. So he is nice to have around. He's friendly. He reduces the presence of all other beings by 1. We've seen it a couple times, so I won't read him again. Let's just see if we can move on. I need to either reduce the water here or just increase my amount of progress. I think increasing my progress is easier. Although I only have 2, I need 2. Actually, it is a water feature, so I can use my fishing again. Awareness and conflict. I needed 2 for this as well, but at least if I fail it, I don't take an injury. It uses conflict icons. Let's see. I can pick up another card. Maybe not. Let's just do 2. Let's stick with 2. I have Throng of Life. So 2 on awareness. -1 is 1, but I need 2, and there's no +1 on this card. That's nice. So Throng of Life won't even help me. I fail fishing and get another song. All right, let's try to divert the water. I only have 1, so I need a 0 or a plus. On blue, I got a -, so I fail that as well. And of course, oh, this does have a +1, but I just spent my focus, so I can't Throng of Life. And I hit the mountain, so it gets another water. Now I need 4 to succeed. Well, I guess I'm traversing then. Spend 2, I'll spend Familiar Ground, 1 exploration icon there. So I have 3, I can afford a -1. I got a -1, so 3 becomes 2, which is just enough to succeed. So I add 2 more progress, which incidentally is also the total amount of progress I need. 4, now that the water is up to 4. Oh, except for I hit another mountain. So I get another water. Whoo! So we're going into the next round. Cannot dig myself out of this outpost. We get Selbelai, an artist. I haven't met her before from the valley. What's she doing here? 82.2. As you follow the path, you see a woman perched on a rock a few meters above the trail. She sees you at the same time and waves. Hello, she calls out. You ask her what she's doing and she gestures to her easel. I'm trying to paint as much of the valley as I can. This view is beautiful, but I could use a person in it to help with scale. Do you think you could just stand right there? Now try and look adventurous. Clear Sail with progress to help her finish her painting. Well, I have songs to spare at this point. I just need to put 3 progress in her. That's easy mode. Spirit and Reason would pose to 3 theatrically to add 4 progress to her. But if you fail, you suffer a fatigue. All right, I'll just use the Scepter of Harmony for 3. Add 3 progress to her and clear her. 82.6 and done. I love your cloak, such a nice color. She takes a step back and appraises her work. You know, I can't help but think that you would look even more heroic if you were posed on a mountain with a sweeping view of the valley behind you. I don't suppose you'd be willing to accompany me to the top of a mountain and pose for me there? What do you think? Sounds fun. Should remove all progress and attach Helping Hand to her. Or some other time, discard her and each ranger soothes to fatigue. I don't know if I have any mountains nearby, and I don't think I would get there today. So I'm going to have to, this Helping Hand would be a only today mission. So I think I'm going to decline her and soothe to fatigue. Good luck with your painting. I only have 1, but that's fine. All right, what are we doing? 5 water, 4 progress. Just fish it again? Yeah. Got a -1, but this time there is a +1, so I'll play Throng of Life to fix that, or even a 0 would be fine. I'll have to resolve an additional icon. Sun is going to make me suffer. I guess I have to add the progress first and soothe the fatigue before resolving the challenge icon, which causes me to gain fatigue. So I don't get that. Either red or blue will do nothing, so I will get 1 song from the second icon I have to resolve with the Throng of Life. And then I will pick back up the Throng of Life, down to 3 cards. But let's go ahead and travel. Now we got 5 water and 6 progress, so I can move on And using the set aside Heart of the Swamp, I'm going to travel to the hidden Marsh of Rebirth. And I say hidden because if you see on the map, Marsh of Rebirth is right in the middle here, but it's not connected by any path to anything. So I can only travel to it via these special circumstances. And it is pivotal too. So no painters or valley people to be found there. All right, so we got the Marsh of Rebirth cards and the Swamp cards. I shuffled back in the Heart of the Swamp. I don't know if I was supposed to, but it's part of the Swamp set and I'm going to a new location. So I assume it's just kind of goes back to normal now. We got 2 presents here, 5 to travel. And when you travel to any location connected to a swamp path. Use the swamp terrain when building the path deck. Okay, so that's nice. We can just go to where we wanted to go to get out of here, which is going to be the Frowning Gate. Once we see what the heck's going on in the Marsh of Rebirth, entry 9. Path deck assembly is to use the swamp terrain. I kind of just did that intuitively. And then the lead ranger is going to search the path deck for the next Hydra Worm and put it into play. All right, let's read 9. The Marsh of Rebirth is the very heart of the swamp, a swirling morass of sluggish currents and thick waters stained with tannins. The heavy, humid stench of rot fills your nostrils, but despite the smell, the oxygen-rich air leaves you feeling invigorated. The Marsh of Rebirth is a place of decay and death, but also of newborn life. All right, so let's get a Hydra Worm. There's one of those. We saw them briefly on the table, but not actually in play. So I guess what I'm doing here is searching for interesting cards, or I wonder if there's a reason to be here that I don't have yet, but I'm just here for no reason now. 2 presents, 5 harm threshold, and 9 progress. Clear it with harm. You feel the swamp shudder. Add a harm to each other Hydra Worm. All right. On a sun, if it has 1 or more harm, the swamp churns. Search the path deck and discard for a Hydra Worm and put into play. On a mountain, if there's another Hydra Worm in the same area as this one, they spread out. Move it. And on a crest, exhaust this being to suffer an injury. Oh, well, that's not good. Let's do our refresh step. Add a cloud to the sun. Ready. Draw. And I've got 2 cards left in my deck. I don't know what I'm necessarily going to try to do here. Draw a regular path card, and it's another Hydra Worm. Oh, and they're both within reach as well. All right, so I think my plan is to just hang out here at the Marsh of Rebirth until I find whatever interesting thing is here. Because when I did a couple of those readings, at least one of them, I forget which one, but one of them said, if you are at Marsh of Rebirth, read something different. And I wasn't then. I was at the Sunken Outpost. So if I can find one of those, whichever one it was, and read that, maybe the more interesting thing will happen. Now, I might not be able to do that today because I have 2 cards left in my deck, but I'll just let myself fatigue out here. I'll do as much as I can while I'm here, see if I succeed, and if not, that's fine. Continue this little diversion tomorrow. These Hydra Worms are big, but I think I can deal with them pretty easily. I'm going to start out by spending 4 songs to add 4 progress to one of them. And then I'm going to spend 1 spirit to play Now's Understanding, which adds 5 to a being. Then, if it isn't cleared, resolve each of its challenge effects. But because I added the 4 progress first, this 5 is going to finish it off. So I got to connect with one of the Hydra Worms. And now I'm going to try to beat up the other one. I'll use Riri to add 1 harm to it. And then I will use my Prodigy the Floating Tower to return a manifestation. And I'm going to grab the Sky Whip, which I will play. I'll commit 2 to it. I need to add 4 more harm. So what conflict icons? I mean, I can just start spending them. I'm running out of day anyway. So I'll add 2 more, make that 4 total. 4, 0 is going to be 4 more harm, which will clear it, which adds a harm to each other Hydra Worm, which is none. And then resolve the mountain, which is nothing. So I'll get 1 more song. And I don't have much else to do here. I would like to use my awareness to survey the path deck and try to find one of those interesting cards, but I can't do that. I could play, no, I can't even play. I was going to say I could play Green Thumb and see if one of those cards was a Flora to put into play directly, but I don't have awareness. I guess I'll traverse. I mean, there's no harm in having the progress on it. I guess the harm would be if I accidentally take an injury. So I'll commit a Philosopher's Honey. I don't think I'm going to use it at this point. -2 would still get me, but even if I do take an injury, the day is almost over anyway. Not too invested in whatever happens for the rest of the day here. So, I mean, if I get crazy lucky, I could get enough progress on this to traverse and then find the cool thing, do the cool thing, and travel all before I run out of my deck, but I don't think that's going to happen. So 3, 0, it's going to be 3. I need 5. And then the crest will do nothing. So I'll get a song up to 6. And then I'm going to end the day. So already, or end, not the day, but the round. Draw 1, add a cloud, draw a card, and it is, the roiling. Entry 72. Clear it with harm, discard each Hydro Worm, and read 72. All right, well, they're different 72s, I'm sure. Let's see what this one is when it enters play. You push through thick bundles of cattails and reeds, climbing over sunken logs and smooth rocks. Then with a start, you realize the rocks and logs are too smooth and too evenly shaped to be natural. One shifts beneath your hand, and suddenly you realize you've been climbing around and through the tangled coils of many Hydro Worms. As they begin to writhe around you, a mass of worm bodies begins to rise out of the swamp. The worm knot looks like it's formed out of dozens of Hydro Worms. This Goliath is too large to be anything but the roiling, the oldest and nastiest Hydro Worm in the valley. Well, I don't see any way to do anything other than if I cleared it with harm. Let's see if I can do that then. So that's going to be along the way, which means Riri cannot harm it. She only does 1 at a time anyway. So I'm going to have to use some Sky Whips, I guess. And I'll probably want to resist or not use many tests here because, let's see, on a sun, if it has harm, it brings out more Hydro Worms. On a mountain, well, it's basically just the same as the Hydro Worms, just with bigger numbers. But on a crest, I suffer injuries, so I don't want to do that. All right, so let's Sky Whip it. I think I forgot to spend a song on my previous one, so I'm going to spend 2 now. Yeah, I just drew 1, so I didn't have to pick it up. We'll wait to see what I want to pick up. So we'll spend commit 2. I don't think I'm going to be able to do 7 all at once here. And I'm actually out of conflict icons. So maybe I do want to pick up a card first just for the conflict. Quiet has double conflict, but she's not a manifestation. All right, so I'll pick up my other Sky Whip and then commit it. So I have 3. Because it says if I clear it with harm, I get to read entry 72 again. There's nothing for clearing it with connection. All right, so 3 plus 1. That's nice. We get to add 4 progress, or 4 harm out of 7. And then mountain, nothing. If there's a Hydro Worm in the same area, there's not, so I actually get a song. And then I might just end the round there to avoid getting an injury. All right, let's see if I can finish this off before the end of the day. My deck is empty. I did confirm in the rules that your deck can be empty, but if you have to draw a card or take a fatigue while it's empty, that's when you are forced to end the day. Get another cloud, which is nice. We go back to a perfect day, which is good. At least the sun won't force me to end. And a Hydro Worm comes out. That's within reach. Okay, well, I have the second Now's Understanding in my hand, so I can do the same thing as before. I can get rid of this without having to worry about fatigue or anything. Let's use the Scepter, 4 songs to put 4 progress, and then spend 1 spirit energy to play Now's Understanding and add that rest of the other 5. Then I need to return a Sky Whip to my hand. And now I have to be a little bit lucky because I got to spend 2 to play it. I have no conflict. I've got 4, but I need 3, so I need a +1. I have Throng of Life in my hand, so I need the challenge card. Even if it's not +1 on awareness, I need a +1 on the card somewhere. And there's not. It's all minuses. So I think that's it. Unfortunately, Throng of Life is not going to help me. Man, so close. If there's just a +1 anywhere on that card. I needed to spend my last song for that just to play it as well. I'm glad I didn't spend any songs on the Marmots earlier. I was able to handle a bunch of these Hydro Worms because it's kind of toward the end of the day and I built up a bunch of songs. And I had built up some good cards in my hand. I'm a little bit scared to start the day here to have a good opening hand to deal with these Hydro Worms. So yeah, I get to add 2 harm, puts it up to 6. You know what? Hold on. I will play Throng of Life. I will choose a different 0 just to be contrarian. So instead of the green 0, I'm going to choose the red 0. And now I have to choose resolve an additional challenge. Oh, I can't even play Throng of Life. I had to spend my last song. Oh no. Man, I thought I figured it out. Because I can choose to resolve an additional challenge icon. In addition to sun, I can choose mountain. Sun says if this being has 1 or more harm, search for a Hydra Worm, put it into play. Oh no, it wouldn't work anyway. And then if the mountain is, if there's a Hydra Worm in the same area, move it. But they're not in the same area because this one's along the way and this one starts within reach. So it wouldn't have worked anyway. But I was thinking I was so close because if a Hydra Worm was here and then I had to resolve the mountain, it would move. And then once it's here, Riri can add 1 harm just to finish it off. But none of that works because this Hydra Worm would come out here. They wouldn't be in the same area anyway. And I don't have the songs to play the Throng of Life. Anyway, so that'll stay in my hand. This actually does resolve the sun to bring out a Hydra Worm. But it doesn't matter because I'm just going to end at this point. If I just end the round, I will need to draw a card and that'll force me to end the day here. So got so close, 1 harm away from finding out what happens to the roiling. Hopefully we get another chance, or at least I can find some other secrets of the Marsh of Rebirth next time on our way to Tumbledown. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and bye.